Kunal's initial opening will set that context, because he wants to talk about when these jobs in between are getting eliminated, what happens to the government's role, what about universal basic income, if most of them are run out of jobs, who will pay the government taxes? All these questions, I think Kunal, excited to hear from him.
What's the role of humans left overall in the world? We've created it's just like from apes and monkeys, humans have come out, right? In some way. Yeah. Today we argue we are creating AI. Day before, maybe monkeys thought humans have come out of us, but today they're just left in jungles or in cages in the cities, right? Maybe humans are left on the earth and the robots go and become the interplanetary species, as we were trying to do.
Sir, your upcoming book, why are you naming it as When Carbon Meets Silicon?
Yeah, the name is Techtopia, Tech Utopia combined. Carbon meets Silicon is the tagline, sort of. Carbon is humans and silicon is machines. So when they meet, and then at the bottom there is the line that errors no humans found. So the humans as we know it, the organic ones or the biological ones, they would disappear eventually in some way. I mean, there would be convergence, singularity between machines and humans, and AI will apply the minds, the super minds in some sense. So this would be the possible next evolution of completely next level species in some way, possibly. I mean, these are all hypotheses. Nobody, at least I don't know how it's going to play out, but just with some imagination, trying to put a story and picture together, hypothesis out there, which is plausible and backed by some potential steps in between that may come.
It's interesting how carbon and silicon belong to the same group in the periodic table.
Well, everything, if you go into spirituality, everything is driven by a common underlying substance called Brahman. Not substance, it's a thing of which everything is made. Consciousness, cell, humans, everything is a derivative product of a combination of Brahman. That's the word they use. It's the smallest or the most fundamental known spiritual particle. There's no scientific backing yet. Scientifically, we are still at, after atoms, electrons, bosons, the quantum level. Those are different discoveries of the smallest comprising particles that make up the universe. But in spirituality, they call it Brahman. So everything is made of Brahman in some sense. Our mind, our consciousness, our bodies, all the periodic table, the whole universe, the earth, the nature, Prakriti, everything. But yeah, that's a separate, deeper, even more deep talk actually, where I'm still a student actually trying to learn.
The question is, are we in a matrix? Do we even exist?
Yeah, I mean, my belief is that we are in a play. It is a matrix of some sort, some Moh Maya, some Jal, some we take it too seriously. If we come alone, we go alone. In between, we are spending too much time and taking life and many things too seriously. It's just like Amitabh Bachchan becomes too serious with Sridevi in a movie. They're just there for 3 hours. They're just there for 6 months of shoot, right? After that, before that, they don't need to have anything else between them. So we are also in a 3 hours, 6 months, 100-year movie. Where we come alone, go alone, trying to discover ourselves, trying to evolve the consciousness collectively of all humanity, lead to the next species. We are all playing a role. I do believe we are in some sort of a matrix. I do believe that. But it's hard to justify because, it's just like in a video game, if you watch a two-dimensional video game, let's say Mario Brothers, if any of you have heard of it or played it, there's no way Mario itself can say that I'm in a game. There's no way for it to say it's not real. There's no way for it to know that it is not operating out of free will. It's jumping when it wants. That's what it may feel if it had consciousness, which we don't know. Though we are pulling the strings from behind, right? So same way we believe it's our free will. We are talking, feeling, doing things as we want, but maybe not. Does free will really exist? Very deep debates, I guess.
We have close to 100 attendees, and Nikhil sir has also joined. I think it would be the right time to officially kickstart the session. thank you everyone for joining in on a Sunday. We are very glad to introduce our esteemed panelists. We have with us Mr. Kunal Nandwani, serial tech entrepreneur, thought leader, author, who has writing extensively about startup ecosystem, tech ecosystem. We have with us Aditya Patil, solid academic. He holds a PhD in operations research from ISB, currently working with GE as research scientist. And we have participation from the leadership of O2 Spa. O2 Spa is a leading player in hospitality/wellness industry in India. Pathsetter is proud to be working with O2 Spa Group over the past 6 months. We have with us their CFO Nikhil Raina and founder CEO Ritesh Sir with us. And we are super glad to have Mr. Sivasai Sir for this session. He is currently a Senior Director Innovation at BMC Software. He's an industry veteran, close to 20 years of experience in building, deploying AI solutions across sectors. And I am Srinivasan from Pathsetter founding team. We have with us Shivas and Pratyusha also. We are also part of the session. I won't take any more time. I'll just leave the stage to Kunal sir to set the tone for the session and enlighten us, provide us a broad view of how things has changed from the past to present, how AI adoption has started and where currently we are. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks for taking and sparing the time on a Sunday. While this topic is meant to be around AI, what it means, where we're going, what are the use cases, how you may use it from day-to-day life. I think before we get into those use cases, and we have very interesting case studies, use cases and practical applications that you may get inspired from and consider for your own businesses and your own day-to-day things you're doing. But before that, I think it's useful to set a context. How did we get here? It's very important to know the history, where we come from, before we know where we're going, which is what we all want to know, don't we? So in that context, I think I would like to take a few minutes and talk about artificial intelligence evolution, where we are, where we're going, what its impacts could be like, how to take it in a very, very high level perspective, really zoom out of the day-to-day life and see this as a big lens over a few decades to centuries, rather than a quarter-to-quarter kind of an approach. So let me start quickly. Firstly, as you may all know, or you may be aware, life on the planet has evolved over billions of years. Lots of evolutionary things have happened, and which eventually led to some conscious living organisms, which evolved into eventually humans, first known humans who came on the planet few thousands of years ago, depending on whatever history book timelines you are reading. All the human evolution over thousands of years led to the previous century, which was the industrial age, last couple of 100 years. And arguably, in the last 100 or 200 years, more development has happened than in the previous few thousand years. This is because of the machines coming in, helping things, machines, wheel, fire, so many inventions have happened over time, which led to this faster progression. Whatever development happened in the previous century was more than the previous lifetime of humans, arguably, in some perspective. But due to internet and further tech revolution, the last 20 years of this current century led to more innovations, more developments and more convenience of life, more evolutionary aspects than the previous century. And now, thanks to AI, very likely next 5 years we'll see even more development and more evolutionary changes. The reason for mentioning these timeframes is that you can see that this is becoming exponential. It's a hockey stick which is now finally taking off. And in terms of the business cycles you are running or you are part of, whatever would take decades for a business to grow, run, scale, and then sustain would now in this century take a few years, and in the next few decades the cycles may come as short as a few months to few quarters to few years. So the periods are shortening. You need to constantly be on your toes. to survive, just to survive in your businesses and everything. Coming back, just a pointer that why was AI invented by humans? Arguably, the first algorithmic thing was invented by Turing during the Second World War, which was a machine to decrypt where the location of the next bombs would be in some way. In 60s or 70s, there's a person who's known as Geoffrey Hinton, I believe, who's known as the father of AI. He said that I want to learn about human mind. How does human mind work? And in order to do that, he had a belief that if we build similar neural network, just like human brain has the neural network of roughly 80 billion neurons, which are comprised of left brain, right brain, neocortex and everything. He said, for me to understand how that works, maybe we create an equivalent one, train it and see how it goes. So this is what started the development of the first foundational layer of AI back in 60s and 70s. He was considered crazy back then, but in time, and at that time, data was not available, computing powers were not available, so it made no sense for the longest period running into the last few years. But among other developments of data, compute power becoming cheaper and more accessible, one other major change happened. In the last 20 years, humans collectively, whatever they know, put everything on internet. If you think about it, everything you know, broadly 99% of it, roughly speaking, would be available on internet today. How to run a Zoom call, how to present something, how to build an idea, how to run this business, how to do that, how to manufacture this. Everything is gone on internet. And with the convergence of better computes, better processing powers, better data access, the first version of AI, chatgpt, one of the early versions, which is trying to build and replicate a human mind in some way, read it all in the last 5 to 7 years. Now, chatgpt, since its launch 5 months ago, has caused lots of revolutionary changes, ideas, which are still early stages. None of them have proven to be that fatal or disruptive yet, but it's not far away. It has at the end learned everything what collectively all humans know, arguably, and it has more compute, better processing, better access, more rational explanations for almost everything. I may know, all of us are individuals, we may know about a few industries, we may know about financial services or manufacturing or technology or healthcare or education or something, but none of us would necessarily know a lot in depth about everything. This is what OpenAI ChatGPT product is aware of. It can not only tell you about how to write software code, it has even gone into the level of creativity. It can write poems for you. You can say, write me a Shakespeare style poem in Jagjit Singh verses, or paint me a Dali picture of the modern classic, something. You can ask it anything and it's coming up with really, really, really impressive solutions. So it's able to really decode what human mind is otherwise able to create. It is able to do it itself. And one important thing I just want to mention, ChatGPT is not searching on internet necessarily when you ask it anything. It has been trained on data till 2021. It is essentially, so I'll just take a step back. Human mind through which I'm speaking right now, you are interpreting right now, you all have consciousness. Whatever I'm saying, all of you are interpreting it differently. There's a different version of your interpretation of what I'm saying is going in your mind. All of you are running a different picture in some way. Some might be saying it's great, some might be really curious, some might be saying it's not so good, I knew it, it's a waste of time, etc. Everyone has their own versions, customized versions going on in their minds, right? But eventually what our mind is, I'm trying to describe it in a very simple way, and it is not appropriate and accurate at all, but I'm still making an attempt. All our mind is an 80 billion neurons network, which has a lot of information, lot of data, lot of emotions, lot of experiences, lot of historic feelings, and they all get triggered by something internal or external happening. If I'm speaking, maybe somebody's getting a light bulb, oh wow, this could mean that, or that could mean this, right? Somebody might be just not reacting at all. All of our emotions, everything is coded into our 80 billion neural network brain. ChatGPT, in a similar way, is a multi-hundreds of billions of neural network created, which has learned everything, and now It is not that if it's not an if-else statement. If you ask it this question, it will search on internet and give you that answer. It is now thinking on its own. It is answering on its own. Just like, to give you an example how it looks, if you have a kid, any of you seen kids grow around you, sometimes kids surprise you. You teach them certain things, some things they have heard of somewhere, then they come up with something new, and it's really funny or very inspiring or very interesting. ChatGPT is a similar way. We do not know how it's gonna come up with something. If you ask it a question, we do not know how it's gonna answer. So it is like a superhuman level, but a kid, an adolescent, a teenage, a young age kid. But it's a superhuman level because it knows everything all humans collectively know. So that's what AI is doing. That's a level of ability it has. And you've seen examples for the last 5 months. I've not seen any social media more flooded by anything else. You've clearly seen now that people are interacting with it more. Now it's not just relying on the static data it learned from internet. As I'm asking it questions and asking question after question, aligning it, it's learning from that as well. It's even getting the latest intelligence through us. So collectively, all humans, whatever we possess in some way, arguably, it has gone into OpenAI. Now, into ChatGPT, and many more AIs have existed for the longest period. The use case for Amazon, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok was just to use AI to keep the user engaged. They never used it to give back to the answers back to the humans, to build collective knowledge database necessarily. Their use case was different, but the level of AI is very similar. So they will also come up with it. Many more things will happen. ChatGPT is not the only plane down, but many more such things will happen. So with this view, I just want to bring it to here where we are today. Why are we discussing on a Sunday morning? Everyone is pairing, hundreds of people here are looking and discussing this. That's a background context. I hope it makes sense. Now, let me talk about, in the short term, what this means for the collective evolution of AIs and humans from now. We were debating on, before everyone joined, we were debating internally and yesterday as well. So one piece of argument is that this is an evolutionary step, and we have almost possibly created the next species. Just like from monkeys and apes, in some way, humans came. No matter how much monkeys and apes might claim that they may have egos or not, that we created humans or humans came out of us, but today monkeys and apes are left behind. They are in cages in cities, or they are in jungles, right? Humans have moved forward and they are building the planet, scaling the planet, or messing it up in some way, or looking at interplanetary species and everything. This AI is possibly an evolution which will lead to the next generation of species. The next generation of species will have this AI-enabled knowledge, AI-enabled mind, possibly and hopefully more rational than we collective humans are today. And there would be possibly singularity where humans and machines merge. You can manage your DNA, you can engineer your DNA. Instead of having a phone as an extended device of knowledge to me, this AI will become a chip and come through Neuralink into my brain. And collectively, this will lead to the next super smart species, which may be able to solve cancer, make quantum computers, go to planets, become the interplanetary species, etc. Maybe that's what's meant to happen over the next few decades and centuries. Nobody knows the time frames, but it would be very fast, and it could be very disruptive. And the humans as we know them today may not exist anymore after a few years or decades, because technology has to enable it. It is just more efficient and cheaper and faster and better in many ways. This is a slightly longer term view I took. I was trying to think about short term, but first came to me the long term. And the biggest open question, which I'm not going to address right now, is that what's the role of humans left if in a few years or decades machines are doing everything, AI is doing so much? Why do we need humans? Can AI start thinking what to do with this knowledge? Can AI start giving tasks to itself? I saw AutoGPT has come, which is now assigning tasks to itself. Think next level. Whatever humans are telling it, can it figure it out itself? What is its goal? What is its Google engineer had come out with a controversy that the AI it was interacting with is sentient. It is alive. It has consciousness. It wants to live. It wants to do things. If any of that starts becoming true at some stage, machines are just the silicon version of the biological carbon humans, which have the similar mind, similar mindset, similar neural network that evolves, right? What is the role of humans left in that case? That is a big debate. Do we exist as now, or do we just merge with the machines and go to the next species and next level? We don't know. We'll discover in time. Side note, I'm trying to write a book on this topic. It should come out in 3 months. The last chapter is the most interesting, where we go from here. I'm still trying to figure out. I don't have the answers. I have a lot of ideas and thoughts, but we don't know. That's where I've tried to cover the human mind. How did we evolve? How did internet, technology, compute, data, abilities led to creation of OpenAI, ChatGPT, which is now revolutionary and a superhuman level kid, which is growing very fast. And every 1 month, you see way more development in it than you saw probably in the last 1 year before. So it is almost like, we have in Christian world AD and BC, before Christ and after. We may have a before AI, before ChatGPT launch on 30th of November 2022, and after that may be the period which marks a major change. Now that's a very high level where we are, where we're going. Short term, next few quarters, months, years, it would look challenging. It is unclear the societal impact in the short term. Previously, we've all said this, that calculators came, computers came, we thought the accountant's job will disappear. Surely it evolved into something else. Now they're filing GSTs and returning 2,000 rupee notes. But now with this AI, many people are saying they'll take away some jobs. Sure, the mundane jobs where it's just you're doing one thing to another, whether it's you are researching something, you are posting some content for marketing, you are driving a car. Self-driving cars have been experimented for a longest period over the last few years, if not decades. Using AI, they can genuinely beat the last challenge that they have, the last mile, and maybe build driverless cars. The drivers' jobs would be in question. IT jobs, tech services jobs, think about TCS, Infosys, Wipro, nothing for against them. But essentially, right now what they do is, if they're on a project, they have 10 people, you are telling them, the client tells them what to do in English, and they code it up in some programming language like Python, right? In the future, AI can do it much better. Maybe one of two things can happen. Either you take those 10 people and start doing 10 times the work. You can pick up 10 more projects with the same 10 people. The cost goes down. That is an impact of any big technology disruptive coming like that. Or for the same project, if you just want to do that, you may need one person who just coordinates with AI and gets it done. So either the TCS client projects have to become 5x or 10x from here for them to maintain the revenue growth they have, and the cost will drop 5 to 10 times over a period of few years, not more, not a decade. I'm talking within this decade for sure. Earliest, maybe 2-3 years from now. Or they start cutting down and AI starts doing everything. I was just thinking economics. A fresher engineer in one of these IT services company would charge or would be paid like 3.5 lakhs or something. ChatGPT is only a $20 per month subscription, right? So the world would evolve from keeping humans into something like that. So we talked about driverless cars. Think about doctors. Doctors, if you go to a doctor, they are so busy, they are so educated. They take 10 years to study medicine, MBBS, so many other degrees. And then eventually they ask you, okay, what do you want? You say you have these symptoms, this is going on. They say, okay, try this medicine or come back in a few days if it doesn't work. A machine, an AI can solve this much better. Anywhere there is any knowledge economy, all the knowledge can be processed by AI much better. It already has access to all of it. It's just a matter of time how either humans start using AI to do more, and they do more, and the cost drops dramatically, or humans start doing less, machines start doing more, and there would be a combination of both. And in between, a lot of job losses may happen. People will have to become smarter to use the AI rather than just do the day-to-day work. And as usual, just like there would be more AI managerial jobs, I imagine. Otherwise, in the short term, there may be a lot of job losses or a lot of productivity increases in some way. There's a combination of both which is going to happen, but the next few years are going to be very interesting. As usual, I do not think governments are ever going to be ahead of this. They will never be able to regulate this well. I do suspect, though, for sure, an AI tax surcharge. The surcharges we see in taxation, I do see that. And as an economics, just think about it like example. I'll take an example to make it real for you. Today, maybe Uber charges 15 rupees a kilometer for a ride, roughly speaking. Maybe 5 rupees goes to Uber, 5 rupees goes to the car and car maintenance and petrol, 5 rupees goes to the driver. Now, if AI replaces the driver and car petrol maintenance becomes more efficient, Uber can save out of that 15 rupees, maybe 6 to 7 rupees. That 6 to 7 may go 2 rupees to as AI surcharge tax to the government, 2 rupees discount to the consumer, and 2 rupees more to Uber for doing this, for implementing the technology and becoming efficient and making it more sustainable. And then governments will have to start considering universal basic income at some stage, so that we were discussing earlier, what would humans do if machines are doing everything, so that we can go on the beach, drink margaritas, but we have to still pay for it, and government has to pay us to pay for it. Even if it's not made by a bartender, it could be made by just a machine in some way. So these are some of the short-term job level changes, developments that will happen. Different industries, all industries are going to be impacted in some way. The biggest one, I think, which we are not yet thinking in depth, is the human relationships. Human relationships are, let's say, all of us. Why are we all on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok all day long? Because it gives us a customized feed, which reinforces the ideas we have, the thoughts we have. If we believe in one side of politics, or if we believe in one side of glamour, it just keeps showing us that and that again, and we like it because it just reinforces us. It aligns to our mindset. What we like is what more we see of. Why these would impact our real life relationships as well. The relationships and humans will become harder to interact with. Maybe the future spouses of people is not going to be a person, but it could be a machine, a silicon machine, dressed like a human, developed like a human, but running with an AI chip which is customized to you. This is the future of relationships. There's a sci-fi movie came out on this called Her, H-E-R, in 2013, which was imagining this, and it's exactly put it out there. So that is again one more thing which could change. The society would evolve, and so net, just to trying to sum up my part of the conversation right now. We can have more questions towards the end if time permits, or you guys can reach out offline as well. Looking optimistically, humans will get time to collaborate with AI. Machines will do most of their works. So humans can do more on what they are meant to do, find their true purpose, if they ever find that, and become highly efficient in whatever they are doing. That's a best case scenario. Worst case is that we'll lose jobs and will not adapt fast enough, and this will lead to societal chaos. We'll see a mix of both. I don't think we'll be on either extreme. We'll be somewhere in the middle. And now the biggest thing is that ChatGPT is learning. I'll give you a live talk. So in one of my tech companies, I have a CTO. He and I were talking, and he said that I don't need the junior developers anymore. I can get the AI to do it now. I can interact with ChatGPT and it's giving me good code. And I said, do it for a year. I may not need you either. And he said, yeah, you do it for a year. It won't need you either. So it will keep stepping up. It's learning from interactions with all humans collectively. I hope it learns the good things and evolutionary positive things, not just and hope it finds a way to weed out the negativities and the things that are not meant to be there. The biggest risk everyone sees and talks about, that's what Sam Altman was speaking to the US Congress yesterday or day before, was what if AI becomes curious, leads to ambition, greed, and diplomacy, and starts dominating the world in some way. That's a worst case scenario. I'm not yet too worried about it, but genie's already out of the bottle. We can't stop it. It's already out there. Even if US bans it, somebody else would allow it. It's out there. It will likely continue, and hopefully it'll lead to the right outcome that's meant to be.